This has been my critique of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It is not titled correctly.
Right.
When you say rock and roll, what do you think of? You think of leather jackets. You think Keith Richards.
Zeppelin.
Yeah, Zeppelin. Yeah. Deep Purple.
Yeah.
Anthrax, Metallica,
Bad Company.
Yeah.
Paul Rogers.
Exactly. Right. That's what you, but Whitney Houston? Yeah. Whitney Houston in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Welcome to a podcast about music and entertainment. Before it all goes down the disposal, this is Circling the Drain.
Welcome back to Circling the Drain, the podcast with John E. Bozeman. Johnny B, that's me. Jay Harper is over there. Hello, Jay.
That's me. Hiya, Johnny B.
And hello to Jim McCarthy.
Hello.
Jim, how you doing, brother?
Good, how you doing?
Hey, pretty good.
How you doing?
Hey, we were talking about, and we're going to clue you guys in on this one. We were talking about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Up in Cleveland. Yes. You were just there, were you not?
I was just there the first time.
How did you enjoy your experience?
It wasn't whelming. It was underwhelming.
It was
underwhelming. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was just kind of like, all right, so that was, we did that, and
how much did that set you back? I'm sure the ticket is not cheap.
I think it was like $60, maybe $70 for the both of us to go through.
Okay.
And it was about, a 2.5 hour experience. They're doing a lot of remodeling up there. I don't want to completely throw shade on them, but I mean, you walk in and I'm a drummer. So they have,
Oh, I'm sorry.
I know.
Okay. All right.
Not a musician, a drummer.
And that's a bass player.
Hey, in the org chart, it's typically the singer. The singer's got 2 girls or 4 girls, 2 on each arm. The guitar player's got a girl on each arm. The drummer's got 1 girl, and the bass player's by himself. Okay, that's typically how it works. So, from a drumming standpoint, the only drums that I could really see that were set up as a kit was Lars's kit from Metallica.
Yeah.
And you could tell when somebody sets up a drum kit who's not a drummer. And it's like somebody just haphazard. Like, the toms are not, angled the right way. They're
right.
One tom's kind of like wonky up here, and it's the other one's down there. And it's like you phone this in, man.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, for crying out loud. You think that they would have a little more respect for the
accuracy?
Way? Yeah.
But you just hit it. See, this has been my critique of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It is not titled correctly.
Right.
When you say rock and roll, what do you think of? You think of leather jackets. You think Keith Richards.
Zeppelin.
Yeah, Zeppelin. Yeah. Deep Purple.
Yeah.
Anthrax, Metallica,
Bad Company.
Yeah.
Paul Rogers.
Exactly. Right. That's what but Whitney Houston? Yeah. Whitney Houston in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
On top of that, it's like, oh, here's a sock that Whitney wore back in 1985. Here's the picture of her wearing the sock with an arrow pointing towards it. And it's like, cool, great.
Yeah,
there's a sock. That's
Bill Monroe's in there.
In the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Yeah. I mean, God bless Bill Monroe.
But Dolly's in there.
Why the heck is he in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? No disrespect to Bill Monroe.
Well, no, and no respect, disrespect to Dolly.
No, they could name the Bluegrass Hall of Fame, the Bill Monroe Bluegrass Hall of Fame.
Yeah, you wouldn't have David Lee Roth in there.
No.
That would be great, though.
Yeah, it would. He did make that Bluegrass album,
That's true.
Yeah, it is perplexing, man. It is just a hodgepodge.
Well, it is. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. If it's going to be the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, make it rock and roll.
Yeah.
Don't make it Grandmaster Flash.
Like Run DMC, I can understand.
Well, they had some
Aerosmith crossover.
Yeah, they have some cred.
Public Enemy did the thing with Anthrax back in '91, and it's like, yeah, they were crossing genres. I mean, that was fine.
Well, and I can see even some country acts that have some rock, like Waylon Jennings.
Carl Perkins.
He played with Buddy Holly.
Carl Perkins certainly makes sense.
Well, definitely
he's in there.
Yeah, but some of these people just do not belong. It's not the rock and roll. Then you need to call it the Pop Music Hall of Fame.
Well, they're having a promotion at the time with Saturday Night Live because of the 50th anniversary. So they had a whole section of the building dedicated to the musical acts over the years of Saturday Night Live, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And that was kind of fun to look at. A lot of the skits, of course, they had the Blue Oyster Cult cowbell, Will Ferrell thing.
Yeah.
It was, those things were kind of okay. That was nice.
And you
maybe
also-
I'm just cynical. I don't know.
Well, no, I don't think so. I think because you're a rock fan,
Yeah.
and you totally. So I think it's. I don't know. I've just never been really all that knocked out with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
They did have a section dedicated to 1984, the year. And that was pretty cool because you saw like Prince's stuff right on display as you walk into the room is the Frankenstrat.
Yeah, in fact, you sent us a picture.
Yeah. But you go up to it and it's like, oh my gosh, there it is.
The Holy Grail.
And I've seen it in the Smithsonian.
Yeah.
But you're looking at it and you're going, this can't be the real deal.
Yeah.
I can't see his family relinquishing that. But you find out it's a replica. And it's like, oh, okay. But they did have actually selections in another part of the building that was dedicated to Eddie Van Halen, like a speaker cabinet, a couple of his guitars that were actually from his personal collection. So
Well, that's pretty cool.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's very cool.
So I appreciated that.
But, when we go down the list of people that have not been inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame,
Yeah.
that's another area where it just gets. Here's a few names for you. Brian Adams.
Really?
Yes. Brian Adams is not in the. Alice in Chains. Not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Dwayne Allman.
Yeah, that's a travesty.
No.
And Greg Allman.
Yeah, I was going to say probably Greg too's probably not in there. Now, are the Allman brothers?
I do believe the
there?
Allman Brothers are, but they also had some, solo.
Yeah, solo stuff.
Yeah,
38
especially
Special.
Greg. 38 Special is not in there.
What the crap?
Yeah. Bachman Turner Overdrive. Another band that's not in there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Badfinger.
yeah.
Badfinger's not in there.
Right. We talked about them in another podcast of what could have been with those guys, but still, they deserve to be in there for what they did do.
Yeah, they did have hits. I mean, they were huge. They were huge hits. Blue Oyster Cult is not in there.
Oh, wow.
I actually caught, you would dig this being a drummer. When I saw them live, I think they opened for Alice Cooper in Wichita, Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
A young preteen Johnny B holds his hand up because the drummer was throwing drumsticks out. I caught one. And I had the drummer from Blue Oyster Cult's drumstick.
That was played.
And
Woodshedded.
And I was going to keep it until I went outside and there was a black dude that was being arrested for something. And he said, "Oh, dude, man, I'd love to have that drumstick." And I said, "Well, it's going to cost you."
Yeah.
And we finally agreed to, I think it was $50.
Oh, wow.
And he asked the cop he said, "Man, can you get my wallet?" And the cop did. He said, "I can't believe I'm doing this." And I sold the drumstick for $50 outside the Henry Levin Arena in Wichita.
That's about how much they go for now, drumsticks.
Oh, yeah. Black Crowes are not in there, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, in the Rock and Roll Hall of
Yeah,
Fame.
the band Kansas is not in there.
Yeah, Kansas isn't in there. Canned Heat.
Yeah. Going up country. Yeah.
I love the music in that.
That guy. I'm
Does it?
sorry.
But I'm going up the country, where you wanna go. I said, boy,
Yeah.
the song had because it sounded real cool when it started, and all of a sudden going,
I know.
no
but-
way.
Yeah.
But Spencer Davis Group isn't in there.
Well.
Rick Derringer.
Oh, gosh.
Rock and Roll Hoochie
and
Coo.
Roll Hoochie Coo.
Come on,
One
get
of
out of
the
town.
greatest rock and roll tunes ever.
And speaking of him, Edgar Winter's not in there.
Yeah. What about Johnny?
Johnny's not in there.
Yeah.
Johnny Winter. Emerson, Lake and Palmer.
Oh,
Really?
Not there.
that's insane.
But Pink Floyd's in there.
Yeah, Pink Floyd, I think. But, Jay Giles' band isn't in there.
Yeah.
And they should be.
Well, Rush just got inducted back in 2012, I
Yeah.
would say.
Yeah.
And that was because the Foo Fighters, Dave Grohl, I think, really made a concerted effort to make sure they were included. And it was a big deal. Like, they pretty much put the Hall of Fame on blast, even during the ceremony.
Yeah.
Like, it's about time you got these guys in. But I didn't see one lick of evidence of anything to do with Rush inside that.
See, and that's
building.
that's sacrilege to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll admit, I don't know the process the methodology for being voted in. I mean, who does that? How does it happen? Do either of you know?
I think it's just a panel of people.
Is it a panel? Can you be a member of, it's like if you're a member of the ACM or the CMA, which we can be a member.
Well, sure.
Then you have voting privileges. I wonder if the Hall of Fame is that way.
Well, I'm sure it is. And I just don't understand. Like I said, with people like Whitney Houston getting in, or even Dolly. And I love Dolly Parton.
Agreed. Or, Kool and the Gang is in there, but yet Emerson, Lake and Palmer isn't. I mean, what is wrong with this picture?
Humble Pie isn't in there.
So to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, a musician or band must become eligible 25 years after their first commercially released recording, 25. Demonstrating musical excellence and a significant impact on the genre. A nominating committee selects a slate of nominees, which are then voted on by an international body of rock experts and the public. The top vote getters from the performer category are then inducted, while other categories like musical excellence are selected by smaller committees. So there you go.
So that's how it's done at the big, I use in the parentheses, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yes.
While you have Whitney Houston in there, Iron Maiden is not.
That's
James Gang is not in there. Jethro Tull is not in there.
Well, they were also put up. They also won Best Heavy Metal Performance once upon a time, too, by the Grammys.
Yeah.
Robbed that of Metallica. So.
Huey Lewis and the News is not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Wow.
So,
it just goes on. Motley Crue isn't in there.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense.
No, it does not.
And we're not the first to say this kind of stuff. I mean, you hear these cries every time they announce the inductees every year.
Oh, sure.
And people will scratch their heads and go, well, you don't want to be disrespectful to successful acts, but in their own genre. But what the heck are they doing in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Yeah, because it's not rock and roll to me.
Yeah.
If it's rock and roll, that means rock and roll. That means...
So, either they need to really start inducting only rock and roll acts, or they need to change the name of the place.
Yeah. And
is it a play for a mass audience attraction?
I think you hit on it right there. I think they're wanting to get a mass appeal.
Yeah.
And to me, they've kind of...
They made themselves vulnerable.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. Well, it kind of dilutes.
Yeah, they've watered it down.
Yeah, I mean, it just dilutes what rock and roll really has been, which to me is total freedom, rebellion. Like I said, when I think rock and roll, the first person I think of is Keith Richards.
Yeah. That's
the first person I think of is rock and roll. I don't think Grandmaster Flash. I don't think God bless them all. Is there
a hip hop Hall of Fame?
There should be.
I think there should be too.
Yeah, I mean there should be. There's plenty of acts to make that happen.
And you know what? I'd be just as not outraged, but like really, if you start inducting Aerosmith into they're not hip hop.
No, they're not. They're a rock and roll band,
right?
And you would really, I don't think you would get. Aerosmith wouldn't even be considered for a hip hop Hall of Fame.
No.
On the other side of the spectrum.
No, it'd be like putting Deep Purple in the hip hop Hall of Fame, right. Or putting Richie Blackmore in the Country Music Hall of Fame. It makes about as much sense.
Now, is the Country Music Hall of Fame similar? I've never been.
It's been a long time since I've been in there. When they built the new build, to me, it's still the new Country Music Hall of Fame building.
I think it is to a lot of people that are.
Yeah. I've kind of cruised through there, but, I think it's pretty well done, and they do a lot of nice exhibits. I know Patty Loveless had a nice exhibit in there may still be set up in there. I don't know. But usually when they induct new members, they will kind of create little, segments dedicated to the new inductees, which is a nice touch.
It is a nice touch.
Yeah.
I liked what Waylon Jennings did because, Waylon was always kind of a rebel and, he didn't.
He was an outlaw, wasn't he?
He was an outlaw. But when he was inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame, instead of going down and making a speech himself, he sent his son, Buddy. Didn't even send Shooter.
It's about as rebel as it gets.
Yeah, it is. Go pick it up for me.
You're a fan of his, aren't you?
Waylon Jennings?
Yeah.
I like him a little bit.
Just a little.
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah, got all of his records. Even got the new one coming in, or Songbird.
Songbird.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I saw a post on social media. His brother, who owns, he
owns Waymore's.
Yeah, a beer joint or something.
It's like a store.
Yeah,
it's like a convenience store.
Yeah, but he had like an advanced pressing, like 35 copies of the vinyl.
Oh yeah, he's giving away.
Given away.
Yeah. I think Shooter may have signed those too.
Mm.
But yeah, Shooter found these cuts. And it's going to be interesting to hear. But he's got 3 albums worth.
Wow, that's a lot.
It is a lot of stuff. And he said it was in the house, and it was in a room that nobody could go into when Waylon was alive. And Shooter came across this stuff, and I guess he sweetened it up a little bit and added some background vocals. And
I mean, was it just like old analog tape laying around in there?
He said it was completed tunes. Said it was all completed songs by him and the Wailers. And he said it was just like a treasure trove. He said 3 albums worth.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder if will RCA or, some other label perhaps lay claim to that stuff? I mean.
Well, that's interesting because Shooter's putting it out on his own label.
Right.
So, yeah, I'd be wondering if he had to work out a deal with RCA, because knowing these record companies in Nashville, they're notorious for trying to milk whatever they can. Probably the worst of milking an artist to death is Jimi Hendrix.
Oh, yeah.
My gosh. If Jimmy farted in the studio, they're going to put out an album on it.
Yeah.
Because they put out some stuff that, frankly, because if you ever saw Jimi Hendrix at any of the Woodstock or Isle of Wight, these 2 festivals that they put out, CDs on DVDs, they weren't the greatest. Right. In fact, Isle of Wight was oh my gosh, or the worst had to be Atlanta, live in Atlanta on July 4th.
Do you think there's an element of like overratedness, you think, with that? Or
I think what it is just a family member just trying to milk as much money as they can out of.
He had his whole section.
Yeah,
he had a whole section devoted to Hendrix. There was a section to Janis Joplin, a lot of the 60s artists from Woodstock. That I do remember. That was kind of cool, And my wife was looking at Janis Joplin. She's like, she was not a good-looking woman. And I go, yeah, she wasn't bad. I mean,
No, she was. She was just for the time. I mean, she was a hard liver. She drank a lot and did a lot of drugs.
But, they
all did, really.
Jimi Hendrix to me was always one of those artists. I'm like, yeah, he did a lot for the genre, but I'm like, it wasn't bad. I mean,
No, I loved Hendrix. I mean, I thought Hendrix was great, but when I watched the whole Woodstock, because, Star Spangled Banner, yeah, man, that was phenomenal. But you watched the whole show, it was. Well, number one, he had put this band together at the last minute. So nobody really knew what the other was doing. And you could tell it was just loose and.
Yeah, just kind of meandered all over the place.
It wasn't real bad, but it wasn't great.
Yeah.
But once he got into Star Spangled Banner and did the, Star Spangled Banner into Purple Haze, into that little blues thing he did on guitar at the end, that was good. That was the best part of but really when I went to see Woodstock, I went to see Hendrix primarily because I was a big Hendrix fan. But I walked away from that movie loving Sly and the Family Stone. They were phenomenal. 10 Years After, who, by the way, they're not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame either. 10 Years After, The Who, Joe Cocker. There were so many performances on Woodstock that just really blew me away more than Jimmy did, actually.
Well, Sly and the Family Stone, they are in.
They are.
The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Now, he deserves to be there. He was like I said, man, if you ever saw Woodstock, the movie, or if you were one of the people that went to the show and remember, I think he was the show stealer.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, if you watch Prince, you can tell really got a lot of, I think he got a lot of influence from watching Sly and the Family Stone.
Right.
Because Prince kind of had the same kind of band, really freeform jamming, put on a show type band.
You'd mentioned Huey Lewis in the News, and in that 1984 exhibit, he was prominently featured.
Really?
I'm surprised he's not an inductee.
Well, they should be in there. Huey Lewis and the News were huge.
Well, I mean, it's the heart of rock and roll is in Cleveland.
Yes.
I mean, for God's sake, it's in the song.
Yes, it is. It looks like you pay back. But there's a lot of country art. We were bringing up the Country Music Hall of Fame. There are a lot of country artists that aren't in there that should be. Alison Krauss is one.
Oh, wow. Really?
She's not in the Country Music Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
She's more bluegrass, though, right?
Yeah, she's out there. Yeah, she tours with Robert Plant
and John Waite.
Right, and she's nothing but bluegrass.
Yeah, she's totally bluegrass. But there's a ton of Clint Black isn't in there.
Oh gosh, we could go down the laundry list.
Vern Gosdin.
I know a guy in Nashville known as The Voice.
Yes,
and not in the Country Music Hall of Fame.
Well, and he has, probably one of the best. Aside from He Stopped Loving Her Today, Chiseled in Stone. You talk about a song that'll make you
classic.
Weep.
Vern was on Elektra for a number of years when he had some really big hits. And then he went on an independent label, which back at that time, when he was on an independent label back in the mid-'80s, was still getting #1 records, top 10 records, which back then, things have changed. But back then, an indie label getting any sort of recognition on country radio was next to impossible. Jim Glazer was able to do that as well.
He was. I forgot about Jim Glazer. What
Jim
a great
Glazer,
artist.
Man, no kidding. He was on a label Noble Vision.
Yes.
And to me, Jim Glazer, when I think back on the fact that he sang High Harmony on El Paso for Marty Robbins, singing High Harmony to Marty Robbins, that's a trick.
That is a trick.
And Jim Glazer pulled it off. He was like 19 or 20 years old.
Oh, sure.
When he did that.
And he also, if anybody ever heard Tom Paul and the Glazer Brothers.
Oh, man.
My gosh, they were and you talk about a group
family harmony.
They ought to be in the Hall of Fame.
Absolutely ought to be in there.
Because you number one, you wouldn't have the outlaw country music craze had Tom Paul not really gotten all these people together.
Right. Of course, their biggest hit, I think it got to #2, was Lovin' Her Was Easier, the Chris Christopherson tune.
Yeah.
But Tom Paul and his brothers, that family harmony, man.
Oh, they were
great. But speaking of another family group that's not in the hall, Larry Gatlin and the Gatlin brothers.
Oh, wow. Exactly.
That is a crime.
That is a crime.
And again, we talked about this before we started the podcast here, not to disparage some of the artists that are in there.
No.
But I feel like these artists like Larry Gatlin, Don Rich, Eddie Rabbitt, Mickey Gilley.
Yes.
We're going to mention some other artists.
Earl Thomas Conley.
That dude had like 16 or 17 #1 songs back in the 80s.
Yes.
Wrote them all.
Yes.
And is not in there. But it seems like a lot of these artists have just kind of been passed over and forgotten. And now we're putting people in there that are fairly recent. I have nothing against Kenny Chesney. Put the guy in there.
Sure.
But why is Eddie Rabbitt not in there and Kenny Chesney is? That makes no sense to me.
No, it doesn't to me either. And two guys that I think have been passed over that shouldn't be, and this is just my opinion, Johnny Paycheck.
Absolutely.
Johnny Paycheck was huge. He was a character. Yes.
So?
But Hank Williams was.
Absolutely. It's almost like they're the Baseball Hall of Fame. There are some artists. There are some athletes that ought to be in there, but because of their political stance or something, they've kind of been snubbed.
Right.
And their performance on the field should be really what matters. Kurt Schilling comes to mind.
Right.
That man needs to be in the Hall. I think that Johnny Paycheck, kind of the same thing in a way.
Yes, it is.
Because he was kind of he was a character.
He was a hellraiser.
Yeah.
There's just nothing, but so many country artists were at that time. And another one that was another hellraiser, David Allan Coe.
Mm-hmm.
He should be in there to me because he he had one of the most sung. You cannot go into a country bar without somebody on karaoke night singing "You Never Call Me by My Name."
Exactly.
Or as some people know it, "Darling, Darling."
Darling, darling.
You never call me darling, darling.
Darling. Yeah.
But because they don't like his lifestyle or
Yeah, it's just passed over.
But yeah, there are so many that Freddie Hart's not in there.
I know it.
Freddie Fender's not in there.
Easy Lovin' Freddie Hart. That was a monster song. And he had other big hits as well. But, you go on the female side of things, Janie Fricke.
Yeah, she's not in there. Jeannie Seeley isn't in there.
Jeannie C. Riley's not in there. I mean,
Jesse Coulter.
Yeah, but the Janie Fricke, I mean, she was CMA Female Vocalist of the Year, I believe, 80 and 81, So, and the woman's not in the Hall of Fame. And yeah, it is disappointing. I know there was a time when they would only put like one artist every year.
Yes.
I mean, they've kind of expanded that a little bit to where they're adding more.
Right, but there are a lot of women like Lori Morgan should be in there, I think.
Yeah.
Pam Tillis should be in there.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So, I mean, it almost seems
Ricky
like,
Van Shelton?
when
Get out of town. Ricky Van Shelton isn't in there.
When you look at the list of folks that are in, it is overwhelmingly male. And
Yes.
and of course, female artists in country have long complained about how they get underrepresented on country radio. That's been a debate for years.
Yeah, it has. Well, I remember during my early days in country radio, we were told not to play two females back to back.
That was kind of an unwritten rule. Well, in some stations, it was a written rule.
Yeah, it was. And if you did, you got called on the carpet.
Yeah, you don't play two females back. Absolutely.
Which
two
I
females
did.
back to back.
Yeah,
occasionally.
I got in trouble.
What was the research why are they these arbitrary rules that radio used to come up with?
I don't know. I don't know where they came from. They were stupid.
Yeah, and a lot of them there are no longer applicable. I'm on a number of country stations around the country, and there was a time when you wouldn't play an artist more than you had to spread them out. You wouldn't have a George Strait record perhaps every hour. Or, it'd be, you got to play them 4 or 5 hours apart, and okay, we got one of the, if not the hottest artist in the format. We can only play this guy once every 4 hours. That's stupid.
Oh, very stupid.
But that doesn't seem to be the case anymore. I'm on WSM FM from time to time, pretty regular here in Nashville. And there are a core of artists that we play. We may play a, Luke Combs, for example, or Morgan Wallen, today's artist.
Right.
They may get played 3 or 4 times just in the span of a couple of hours.
Yeah.
So, I don't disagree with that,
Oh, I don't either.
Like when Jerry Reed said, when you're hot, so play the hot stuff. That's what people want to hear.
Well, it's like when I worked in Birmingham, Alabama, and we probably played these two artists every hour because they were so popular down there. One was Alabama, of course, and the other one was Hank Williams Jr.
Yeah,
this was in the early 80s.
Yeah,
early to mid 80s. Yeah,
Born to Boogie days.
Oh yeah, where a country boy can't survive and all that.
All my rowdy friends. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how it's like there at one point in time, radio actually did take. Make the phone calls, get the artist played, and the local market would kind of dictate what they wanted to listen to. But then you had your boss jocks that kind of did that as well. That's where the payola came into it.
Oh yes,
and these record guys would come in like, oh, what do you need? Girls, drugs, alcohol? What what can I get for you?
Like they said, hookers and blow.
Right. The radio was a much different business back then. Very.
But it was more interesting then, though, because I've said many times, one thing I do miss about America back then was that if you were in, say, Wichita, Kansas, you would hear a totally different sound. Mm-hmm. You would see different restaurants, different types of food. And then you go down to Birmingham, Alabama, and it would be totally different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where today, homogenized.
Today, it's more homogenized now. You get You get the same restaurants. You get the
absolutely
everything's the same.
Radio's the same way, and
Exactly.
you're so right, Johnny. I mean, I grew up in South Louisiana, started my radio career there. And South Louisiana is, well, Louisiana in general, but specifically South Louisiana, the music sound there is totally different than any other part of the country. And that's not unusual. You go to parts of Texas and it's different there than any other. So it's not, anything that's all that unusual. But, the stuff that we would play there, we would play some local artists and stuff. There was kind of a swamp boogie country thing going on down there.
It's kind of a Zydeco thing.
Well, there was an artist from North Louisiana named Bubba Talbert that we played. The guy was great. We played a lot of John Wesley Riles.
Oh, I remember him.
He had a sound that really was popular down there. And of course, at the time, we were locally owned. This was WYNK AM/FM Baton Rouge that was 100,000 watt flamethrower. I mean, it just dominated the market. But we would play that kind of stuff. And Norman Wade was another artist down there that was local and people loved. Floyd Brown owned a bar and he was very good, was on MCA for a little while. But anyway, it's local to the market. That station, the local owner, he was getting older. Anyway, he sold it to one of the big guys, which eventually became Clear Channel and iHeart and all that. Well, when the station got sold, here came the consultant saying, why are you playing that crap? And got rid of all of it. And we started playing nothing but Crystal Gale, Kenny Rogers, all of that really homogenized stuff.
The MOR
no
type
disrespect
stuff
to those artists because they're great artists, but we totally lost our identity.
Oh, yeah.
We had these goobers coming in, these consultants coming in from other markets and stuff that didn't know a damn thing about South Louisiana, the people, the culture, what made us tick down there. And there was a revolt from listeners, and thus a new station came into the market, started playing the stuff that we were no longer playing, and started kicking our butts.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. But whose fault was that? It was us jocks that they elected to, within 6 months, those speeches, Johnny, when a new owner comes in.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you guys are great.
You have nothing to worry about.
Nothing to worry about. You're the reason that we bought this station because it's so successful and it's all because of you.
That's right.
6 months later, everybody's gone.
Oh, exactly.
And
don't you love that?
Yeah, so that, because our ratings are down, it must be the jocks. No, it's these yahoos that they brought. Can you tell I'm still a little ticked? This is 40 years ago. I'm still a little ticked by this kind of stuff.
Well, you know what they say about consultants, Jay? Consultants are like guys that can never get a date, but yet teach you sexual positions. That's what consultants. Well, it's like this. It's like in Kansas. When I was in radio there, an artist that was really big out there was Rex Allen Jr.
Yeah,
great singer.
Yeah,
great
my
singer.
uncle played lead guitar for him for years.
Really?
Yeah. But Rex Allen Jr. had such a smooth sound.
Well, like his father, he had this great voice.
Right. His father narrated all those Disney documentaries and little nature films.
Oh, exactly. And Rex Allen Jr. narrated Me, Myself, and Irene, the Jim Carrey movie.
That's right. Yeah. It's just such a, I don't know, man. It's again, another reason I think that, the radio's dead and dying and so forth, they did it to themselves.
They did it. Well, they committed Harry Carey, really. I mean, especially when they started bringing in consultants and started making everything homogenized, everything the same.
Yeah, one size fits all.
Yeah.
Cutting playlists down to 20 songs and playing them over and over and over.
And getting rid of, what I really miss are the great personalities. We talked about the late, great Coyote McLeod in a former episode. Dude was phenomenal. I miss people like that.
Yeah.
That had such a great talent of.
He was a ham.
Oh, I mean, good.
Let's face it.
Jerry House.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Jerry
Carl
House
P.
is fantastic.
Mayfield.
Yeah.
All these guys were so good.
You can hear the music anywhere. What sets the station apart?
Oh,
The personalities.
Exactly. Exactly. I miss the personality.
And that's the thing is that's really upsetting is that radio still it doesn't even know its edge. It doesn't know its edge, and it's live and local at all. It's even over podcasts and digital, guys. If you guys are in charge of the radio stations, it's live and local. Now, how do you make sense of that financially? Is the question.
Yes,
because
talk radio too, especially sports talk and political talk. That's an expensive.
Oh yeah,
but it pays for itself though.
I once had Danielle Breezy on my podcast years ago.
Oh yeah,
and great conversation. Had to edit a lot of it because I basically brought her into the situations and areas that she's like, yeah, I don't know if I could really say that, but I basically said, look. Do you realize the leverage you have at that station where you are? I said, they know that nobody's watching for the news, right? Everybody's getting their news off at the time Twitter or Facebook or wherever you can get it these days on your phone. I said, but dude, when we have a storm situation, you have eyes on you.
Exactly.
I've seen your Facebook lives. You've got 5,000, 6,000 people watching you at a time. And I said, I don't see any ads running. What the hell are they thinking? You need like something that's running in a lower third or something you need to be selling something to get in front of those eyes.
Well, and look at the girl that was let go from, what was it, Channel 5,
Bree Smith.
Bree Smith, yeah.
Yep.
She's still popular.
Well, she pivoted into becoming more of a personal brand. Very smart move.
It was a very smart move.
Okay, the same thing I tell about Del Giorno. And then when those guys, they were cut loose, it's like, look, I blew him up. Start a podcast. I did the same thing to you.
Yeah, you did.
Yep.
Look what happened. Yep. You got me into it.
Here we are.
But yeah, you're right. Yeah, I really hate that radio has gotten away from, especially music radio, has gotten away from the personality because that's what really sold it. It wasn't so. The music was great, but we also loved. I mean, I loved tuning in to hear some crazy morning guy or. Afternoon guy that was just off the wall.
And nowadays, you're told don't talk for more than 15 seconds.
Yeah. That was eras.
Yeah,
and also put out something that some kind of information that nobody really cares about. Did you know that 300 people a year put up their Christmas trees early? Really? Now here's Crystal Gale.
Waka waka. Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning.
Yeah.
Super.
All right, 20 minutes on the back side and the front side of the 10 o'clock hour.
Don't forget, Wednesday night, we got Comedy at the Cookhouse with Wayne Winsley. He'll be out there. Make sure you get your...
That's right. Come by for those $5 off on a pizza.
Super. Just super.
That's right.
But we need to... somebody else, back to the Country Music Hall of Fame. One person that's not in there that I cannot believe. Shania Twain.
Yeah.
And I'm not a Shania Twain fan, but
she was a trendsetter.
Oh, and I mean, you talk about selling records.
Is
Big
Taylor
time.
in there?
Big time.
Taylor Swift?
I don't think she is.
No.
Trace Adkins isn't in there.
What?
No, Trace isn't in there.
What?
He ought to be. Travis Tritt.
What?
Another one that's not in there.
To be fair, I pulled it up to see what their process is.
What is their process, Jim?
CMA elects 3 new Hall of Fame members each year, unless there is a tie in the voting for a category. Okay. In that case, both of those who are tie are admitted together. For example, in 2021, Eddie Bayers and Pete Drake tied in the voting for the recording and or touring musician category, and both were inducted in the Country Music Hall of Fame. So they're only allowing 3 in a year. So,
right.
That's pretty.
It used to be just one.
It was. It used to be just one.
And I remember one day, one of the shows, I can remember Willie Nelson saying on stage, "We need to open the doors of this place and let a whole bunch of them in the, in the hall." And he was so right. They certainly need to expand beyond 3. That's ridiculous.
So. Logistically, what would that look like? All of a sudden, if let's have a mass adoption of all these artists, how do you make them feel special? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is that something they got to think about?
The mere fact that they're being inducted should make them feel special, I would think. But I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, because they do have egos, and they look,
right.
It is a very competitive field. I don't care how much these country artists or any artists say they're friends with so and so.
Yeah,
they're in competition.
Yeah,
and they love You know, when it's something special, they don't want to be part of a group. They'd rather be, it's all about me.
Now, I have another interesting story per Ultimate Classic Rock, classicrock.com. John Bon Jovi. Bon Jovi is an inductee in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, or a member, I guess. But John Bon Jovi is not. They actually have their own section there, too. That was kind of cool. But he said, to put it mildly, John Bon Jovi's relationship with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame has been complicated. He felt slighted that his namesake band had to wait 10 years after becoming eligible to finally get inducted. During their induction, Bon Jovi joked that he had written 2 speeches, one a thank you speech and the other a F you speech.
Blank you speech.
Kind of like what Steve Miller did when his acceptance speech.
Yeah.
I understand he made Cheap Trick kind of feel uncomfortable.
Yeah. Because, you know, John Bon Jovi's got his own track record and success as an artist in his own right.
Well, you also have David Lee Roth.
True.
You know, David Lee ought to be in there.
He should. Yeah.
Well, you know, you mentioned the Spencer Davis group. The Spencer Davis group not in there. And,
no, it's not.
You know, Steve Winwood isn't either.
Well, and Eric Clapton in a few bands, Blind Faith?
Cream.
And
Boston. Did you say Boston?
Yeah, Boston's not in there.
Yeah, that's nuts.
That's not right.
That's a crime.
That's just nuts.
And then you have, Deep Purple's Richie Blackmore. He had another band, Rainbow.
Phil Collins.
They're not in there.
Mm-hmm. Phil Collins is not in there. I mean, it's like, you know, I can feel. Come on.
Yeah.
Doesn't get more rock than that.
Yeah.
The Cult.
Yeah, the Cult's not in there.
Cult's not in there?
No.
Roger Daltrey as an artist, I guess, not in there.
Pete Townsend's not in there as an artist. And he had several solo hits.
Eric and the Dominoes.
Yep. Another Eric Clapton band.
Someone said Devo, and I'm like,
somebody did mention Devo. I
could see that.
Yeah.
They don't need to be. Dio.
Yeah, he
guy's
should be
a freaking legend.
Yeah, that dude is a legend. Dio ought to be in there.
Now, I'm a big Anthrax guy, and I think they need to be in there because they broke a lot of rules.
Yeah, they did.
Okay. As a thrash band.
Yeah, they did. You're right.
You know?
They deserve to be in there.
Yeah, they did the whole thing with Public Enemy, and it was a lot of fun.
Now, if you're going to put Dolly in there, you need to put there are country artists that have more rock and roll cred than. Mm-hmm. I mean, I love Dolly.
Yeah,
I don't mean to be beating up on her.
I know it's
but
hard,
she's not rock and roll.
I know it's hard to say anything, and we're not saying anything bad about Dolly, but it's. I know it's a real mixed emotion thing.
Well, it is. I mean, because there are other country artists that had more of a rock and roll edge to them. I'd put David Allan Coe in there because he did an album. He did an album with Pantera that was quite popular called Rebel Meets Rebel. First time you had a country artist with a heavy metal band.
Yeah. They were so produced.
Oh yeah.
Gosh, the compression on that album. My goodness.
But gosh, they were great.
They were a great band.
Oh my gosh.
That's you actually have, they're touring now with Phil Anselmo and the original bass player.
Yeah, but you don't have the Abbott brothers.
Right.
It'd be like touring Van Halen without Alex and Eddie.
Which, Sammy kind of did.
Yeah.
Did you see that when they came around here?
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to that show.
I didn't go to the show, but I saw
it. Pretty good.
I've seen, have you seen David Lee Roth's,
no.
Some of his,
they came around with him back, in the 2010, 2011.
Yeah.
And he was singing with them. I just couldn't do it.
No, I could. Well, I did. I went to see that. It was 2012 when they had Different Kind of Truth.
Yeah.
And he was bad.
Yeah.
He sucked.
He's just pretty much talking at this point.
Well, the thing was, the band sounded great.
Yeah.
Wolfgang did add a bottom edge to those guys. I mean, I was blown away musically.
Yeah.
But when they got to Jump, the final song, I was like, wow, Yoko Ono could sing this better than David Lee is.
Wow.
Jump never sounded right live.
No, it didn't. They couldn't. They never pulled that off live.
It doesn't have the same grit.
No, it doesn't.
In the album.
No.
Sammy Hagar's not in the Hall of Fame either.
See, that's wrong.
That is wrong.
Sammy Hagar, that's a rock and roll.
Iconic voice. Don Henley.
Yeah.
Hole is not in the. I'm okay with.
Yeah,
that.
Hole. Well, I did like the one album. What was the Celebrity Skin?
Yeah,
I kind of like that.
Billy
album.
Idol.
Yeah, why isn't he in there?
Yeah, Glenn Fry.
Is Glenn Fry not in there?
I don't
Don
think so. No, he's not.
In Excess.
Yeah.
Yeah, in excess is that's a crime.
Yeah.
James but Hank Williams Sr. is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
As
Hank Williams
should
Sr. Yeah, I can understand that. Hank Williams Jr.
I guess because so many of his songs, Hank Williams songs, have been recorded by quote unquote rock pop artists.
Well, rock artists, Tom Petty.
Mm-hmm.
I love what Tom Petty said about, he said, the country music you hear today, it's like a bad garage, rock and roll garage band with a fiddle. He said, you really want to get to country music, get to Hank Williams and Johnny Cash.
Lenny Kravitz, not in there.
Now, is Johnny Cash in the rock and roll?
Yes, he is.
Oh, he should be.
Yeah. Yeah. But his daughter, Roseanne, is not in the Country Music Hall of Fame.
And she should be.
Yeah.
She made some great records.
Yeah, she did, man. That 7 Year Ache, which was her big monster, that did cross over. But My Baby Thinks He's a Train.
Oh, yeah.
And her ex-husband, Rodney Crowell.
He should be in there.
Definitely should be in the Country Hall.
Not only a great songwriter and had cuts galore by Oak Ridge Boys, Waylon Jennings, you name it, but also had great hits himself.
Yeah, hits himself, yeah.
In fact, off one album, Diamonds of Dirt, did he not have like 5?
Number one songs,
yes.
I believe.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a crime.
And Rodney is such a, of course, I call him like a buddies with the guy, but Rodney Crowell, he's always been part of that Nashville clique, for lack of a better term.
Yes.
So it's surprising that he's not in there.
No, it does surprise me. And really, when I think about it, Steve Earle ought to be in there.
Yeah, I think that he certainly deserves to be in there at some point. But with all due respect to Steve, I mean, he's our pal, but not before some of these other artists.
Well,
that we
I would
mentioned.
agree with you on that.
The Eddie Rabbits of the world.
Well, Steve Earle could be in the country. I mean,
in the rock, yeah,
in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah, and heck, he's done bluegrass albums.
Well, yeah, hell, he did a complete one with the Del McCoury band.
Exactly,
The Mountain. It was
right.
Fantastic.
Yeah. He's one of those artists that, and I understand it. He gets bored. He wants.
I do too. Yeah, I
wants
get
to
it.
try new stuff, man.
And he does it all well.
Yeah.
That's what, because when he put out the bluegrass, I thought,
what
Steve,
are you doing? And
what are you doing?
Then you hear it, and
then I
wow.
took it home, and I was like, wow, this is.
Well, Steve's not going to let any crap go out with his name on it.
No, he's not. He's got a great one out with what's this band? Is it Reckless Kelly? Something like that. I know. But they've got a song out right now, and it's really good. I think it's called Bad Girls.
Yeah.
You got to wonder, like, in either of these things, when they first start them, they got to know, like, look, it's a catch-22. No matter what we do, we're gonna not please everybody. But when you have, artists that aren't in the genre that are getting nods ahead of the genre you proclaim to put out there and represent, what are you doing here?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the only, I'm not been a big guy on labels, but I do think, like in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, if they just call it the Pop Music Hall of Fame.
That's what it is.
And it is. That's exactly what it is. That's what it should be called.
But you got to wonder, it's like, okay, if somebody came along and said, I see what you're doing and I'll raise you and say, I'm going to start my own Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and make it absolutely legit. And we're going to induct a whole bunch of people because, and then just start your own.
Well, I think we have a plan here, gentlemen. Maybe we should be the ones that start this.
Let's, whoever's interested in investing, let's.
Whoever's out there that wants to bankroll this thing for us, thank you very much.
Yeah, but again, once you start admitting artists that are kind of a little questionable as to whether they should be deemed rock and roll artists,
right?
Once you do that, then that's
floodgates.
It's floodgates. Well, if they're in, then how come? Well, then you need to put, and then there you go.
Right.
I mean, Earth, Wind, and Fire is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and I get that. I mean,
yeah, I get that.
They had some stuff that was rock. you know?
Oh, yeah.
And had some real good rock and roll riffs in a lot of their stuff. So I get it, but they can also be seen as soul as well.
Yeah.
Isley Brothers, absolutely.
Yeah, or Chambers Brothers too.
Who's That Lady by the Isley Brothers?
Oh, yeah.
With that fuzz guitar in there. I mean, that's rock and roll, man.
Yes, it is.
Have you guys been to the Muscle Shoals Music Hall of Fame?
No, man, I've always wanted to visit that, but
that's a cool place.
I bet it is.
Yeah.
I went down to I was kind of disappointed in Muscle Shoals though, because I was expecting this sleepy little Alabama town that it used to be. Mm-hmm. Now it just looks like Murfreesboro. But I did go by the Fame recording studios because we got to interview Rick Hall and a couple of guys. I think it was David Hood and Jimmy Johnson before they passed. But it was fun interviewing those guys because I'm thinking, man, these guys, you're talking about history.
Yeah.
With Rick Hall and especially Jimmy Johnson, I enjoyed talking to because he's the one that first produced Lynyrd Skynyrd. And he blew me away because I asked him what they were like, and he said the only thing we had to teach them was how to count down. He said they just start playing. But he said they were so rehearsed, so well rehearsed. He said we didn't have to do too many takes on them. He said they were that way live too. Said they really did. They weren't a jam band.
Right.
He said they were more of a. Ronnie Van Zant made sure that everything sounded like the record, and he was such a taskmaster that he made the guys play exactly as they played on the recording.
They had such a reputation among many of just kind of being this wild, scattered, just, drinking beer, just a bunch of old country boys.
Oh, rednecks.
A bunch of rednecks and stuff.
Which they were.
Yeah, but from what you're describing, it was all business though, man, getting in that.
In some ways,
that studio.
As far as the studio goes, I think, Ronnie Van Zant was a taskmaster. But on the road, they were hell raisers. In fact, Ronnie Van Zant, I would have hated to work with this guy because Ed King told the story one time about Ronnie getting so drunk. He broke a lamp. He was mad about something that happened during the concert. And he was going around each member and in fact stabbed Gary Rogerson in the hand. He said, "You'll never play again."
Good. Grief.
I mean, just crazy, I just don't think I could have worked with somebody like that.
It's not a big proponent of healthy culture creation.
No.
Organizations.
No.
Yeah.
They wouldn't put up with that today in the...
A good friend of mine who was my program director at a station I worked at in Louisiana, the Lynyrd Skynyrd plane crash happened on their land. In Mississippi.
Right. Yeah.
And Phil Williams is not the bonehead that's the reporter here in Nashville. But,
tell us how you really feel, Jim.
No, this is Phil Williams was my PD in radio down in South Louisiana at one of my stations. But anyway, his family lived on a farm, ranch kind of thing.
In Macomb, Mississippi. Yeah.
And, they heard the crash. Phil was a teenager at the time. They were the first on the scene of the crash. And in fact, there are, I think you can find them on YouTube. They're news reports, and it's Phil's dad being interviewed.
Oh, yeah, I've seen all of those.
Yeah.
And, interesting.
But Phil described the scene. He said it was pretty gruesome.
It had to be.
So I won't get into that. But he said one of the things that made the biggest impression on him when they got to the scene of the crash, there was money everywhere. Apparently they'd been playing poker on the plane.
Oh, yeah.
He said there was, paper money everywhere up in the trees and stuff. He said it was really eerie, really. But it was a pretty traumatic scene, especially for a teenager.
Well, and especially a lot of those old farmers down there, because Artemis Pyle, the drummer, went for help. And some of the farmers shot at him because they said, we just thought he was a hippie.
We were trying to shoot you out of the sky and you survived.
Yeah, that's what you do to hippies, you shoot them.
That's what we do down here in Mississippi, boy. But anyway, I hope
long-haired, freaky people.
I hope. Did you read the sign? Anyway, I'm reading the sign here that and like us wherever you're at. You're on YouTube or Facebook.
Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're actually. I'm getting us on Twitch.
Are you getting us on Twitch?
Yes. So. And again, we will have a full-fledged, full-blown website at circlingthedrain.net here very soon. So
we getting merch?
Man, we got to do that.
Oh yeah, we got to have some merch.
Gotta have merch.
Yeah.
I got to say before we wrap up, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is kind of akin to the NFL. There's like a tone deafness in a way.
Yeah.
Especially with the announcement recently of who's going to be the halftime performer.
I know it.
Oh man, you're not kidding.
Yes.
Bad Bunny.
Yeah.
I know. An anti-American Latino that doesn't perform in English. That ought to go over really well.
But I mean, it's so tone deaf.
Yeah.
But I think it's Jay-Z, I think, who has the control of that. He's got an agreement with.
We'll say no more.
Yeah. So he's been picking all the acts for the past several years.
Kind of like Beyonce winning Country Album of the Year at the Grammys. And I don't have anything against Cowboy Carter. I thought some of it was good.
It was okay. Yeah.
I never heard it.
It was not bad.
No.
It wasn't bad. I mean, I wouldn't say it was her version of country is what I would call it. I wouldn't call it a country album.
And one more travesty of the Hall of Fame, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Roger Waters No, I'm not really upset about that.
No. And can you imagine the acceptance speech?
Oh, gosh. Did you hear what he said about Ozzy recently?
Yes.
It's like, what a dumb dude.
What an ass.
Jack came out and went after him. Good for Jack.
Yeah, he did. Good for Jack.
Yeah.
Yeah. Roger Waters is just an ass.
He's a freaking pompous jackhole.
Yeah, he really is. Yeah. And it's like we had Wade Hayes on previously, and there's just some like that in the business. They're turds,
Go play your bass.
Yeah, just go play your bass and go count your money.
Yeah,
and get out of our lives.
Pink Floyd wannabe band.
Yeah.
All right, Johnny. Time for us to go count our money.
Yeah,
which won't take long.
No, it won't take long because we'll have plenty to. We'll be back before you know it on Circling the Drain.